Good afternoon, everybody.
Oh, Lenny Sblendorio is here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Di.
You have such a long resume in terms of who you are in the realm of punk and music from New Jersey.
I look good on paper. And I could add DJ to that list now.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Primarily, I guess I met you at a Stranglers show.
Yes, that was in, I don't know what year, but the year that the Men in Black album came out, they played at Creations in West Orange, and that's where we met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was before Buy Our Records by a couple of years.
Yeah, 1983.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we have known each other ever since. And I guess one of the main things that you're known for being is the figurehead operations manager. And what's the term that you like to call yourself in reference to the Buy Our Records label? I
don't know. We just did it all. It started out with just me and Jim Dunleavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend Chris Fieri came on. Chris runs his own, he's a director of Ghostland Films. And I want to just tell everybody about that for a second. He has a new movie coming out called Sweet Lorraine, and everyone should check out on YouTube.
Oh, really?
You could see the trailer for this movie. It's going to be really good.
Oh, cool.
Who's in that now? Tatum O'Neal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris is gone.
It was the three of us, and then Dominic, who now goes by the name of Aaron.
Oh.
But that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just fans of music. And we were playing in bands. Jim was playing in Bedlam. Adrenaline OD put out the first record, Let's Barbecue.
Right.
Paul coined the name Buy Our Records because it was very, very much of Paul's humor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was it. And the second record that came out was the Bedlam album. And from there, we just did it. If we liked the band, we would put your record out. And that was it. I think we didn't stick to a format, and that's what was the demise of Buy Our Records. We started as a punk label, but then we branched out into other stuff.
Well, and some of those records that you put out were really sort of gutsy moves to put out at the time, and there was a lot of sort of more like no wave, weird, and I don't want to say weird, other things coming out like the Honeymoon Killers.
Well, it started with Children in Adult Jails first. That was the first.
Did you not think that was a hardcore record?
No, but I love the band, and that was it. My first producing of a band, we did that together, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And but then after that. Yes, Honeymoon Killers, Pussy Galore,
yeah,
Big Stick, and a lot of that stuff didn't fly with the kids. It just were buying hardcore records, and I think it kind of alienated them a little bit.
Well, and you tried to teach them, didn't you?
We like what we like. Warner Brothers Records put out Black Sabbath and the Association,
right?
So I always thought we could do it too, but
right, yeah.
And we put out the Skulls and Raging Slab before the grunge explosion, and it was like, what is this rock and roll crap you guys are putting out? And we were a little too early with that.
But all said and done, I mean, really, if you look at the Buy Our Records roster, it's pretty amazing from when it goes from what to what.
I think so. I mean, I love doing it. Our last release was a Zydeco band, Lucky Seven, which was totally off the...
I saw that on I guess Discography or Discogs.com or whatever, and I actually thought that it was incorrect because there is another Buy Our Records in Massachusetts, and I thought, this is that other label.
That was us. They were good. They were a little rockabilly, but Zydeco and Cajun, and still rock and roll. A very cool record. But, that was it.
Oh, that's my mistake. I had no idea.
The Love Dolls from California, PMS from New York.
Yes.
We had a good run of stuff. Hopefully someday it'll resurface a little bit.
Are there any plans, or do you have any ideas about what you would like to do with the catalog?
Well, I'd like to have a compilation come out where a few songs of each band, just so it's represented out there, and actually in a format of a CD or vinyl.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do it as a fundraising album. I'm very organized in the field of autism because I work in the field. I have a son with autism, and this is Autism Awareness Month in April. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
And so I would like to do that, have a charity record, or have all the funds go to something like that.
Oh, that's cool. And you have you're a member of Devilhaus now, and you guys have a gig coming up in this month that we could talk about.
Yeah, the Autism Awareness Show. It's going to be the second one that we did last year, also at Maxwell's. It'll be on the 28th of April on a Sunday. Start late afternoon. Sid Barrett, Devilhaus, Buzzard Wagon, and Platinum Load will play. It'll run between like 6 and 10, and it'll be a $10 donation, and all the funds will go towards an organization my wife runs called United by Autism.
Oh, wow.
Which we supply educational materials for schools in New Jersey and all types of stuff. She's a busy girl, and you could always check out that. It's unitedbyautism.org, and you could check out that site.
Cool. And this is the second year you've done that?
Yeah, we did it last year at Maxwell's as well.
Autism.org. Cool. And then Devilhaus has a couple other shows coming up, is that right?
Well, we're going to play tomorrow night at Dingbats in Clifton on Van Houten Avenue. And it's a rock and art showcase, so there's going to be vendors. Across the street at Dingbats, they're going to be selling artwork and other crafts and stuff that they make. And then bands will be playing at Dingbats across the way.
So one's Dingo's.
Yeah, Dingo's Den is right
it?
across the street. And that's where the artwork is going to be on display.
I see.
At Dingbats, we're going to play. It's another band. Body Farm Robbery, Devilhaus, Validation, Xenophile, Skunk Days, and Guac. That's the lineup for tomorrow night.
How do you spell Guac?
Guack, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying Guac. So.
Yeah. Guac.
But, that's tomorrow
that's why
night.
I asked for the spelling, because I know I'm not sure I know the word Guac.
Devilhaus. We're going to go on around 9 tomorrow, so come on down and see us.
And you guys are a hard-working band.
Yeah, we have a lot of shows coming up. You could always check. We have a website. It's devilhaus.net. Of course, we got a Facebook page, Reverb Nation page, and we have 3 songs on iTunes that for you people that don't buy music physically, you could download it.
Isn't it weird, the concept of music just, I mean, when you appreciate music, it is just sort of in the air, and it's, penetrating your ears, but the whole idea of it not being physical.
No, I don't like it. I hate it. I mean, all the songs on my iPod I own physically that I transferred on there. I come from the days of buying an album and opening it up and reading the liner notes and looking at the pictures. And
oh, yeah, and you used to work in record stores, too. So you have that whole background of really just bricks and mortar, like music is a storefront.
I worked at record stores for years until the business got bad. I was laid off, and then I got into the field of education to help my son and other kids with autism. So it's great.
But
I miss, I miss the whole physical thing of an album. I was a Kiss fan. When you buy that, you got all little chockies inside and the whole bit.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's,
right now.
You get a download, you get nothing. Just like a song floating out in space that could just go away.
Right. It's like, we hope you like this.
Sure.
And that's really it. Yeah, and especially being, you worked in record stores and were a record label guy for a while. I mean, when Buyer Records first started, it was just vinyl. Right.
Yeah, because back then that was the primary thing. Then we put some things out on cassette.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, a few things. And then the first CD we did put out was the Wacky Hijinks album. Came out on CD.
Oh, so that was a reissue.
No, we actually put that out. Buyer Records did.
Oh, okay.
And then we did a deal with this label in the Netherlands called Semaphore, and they put out the Flag of Democracy 23 record. And they put out the Honeymoon Killers, the second one that we did. I can't even remember the name of it right now, but they issued that on CD.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be different to be at a label doing things physically. I mean, you get, like you said, like Devilhaus has things up on iTunes. It's like you record it, it goes up on iTunes.
But we put out a CD. We made we pulled our money together and put out a 3-song CD.
Right, because you have appreciation for
Sure.
the actual feel for 3D music.
I needed that. I needed to have. I couldn't just be in a band. We had to have something to give away or sell or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what would it be like being part of a record label now if nothing was actual product?
if I had money, I'd still want to have a record label, and I would do all the modern stuff you're supposed to, but I'd want to put it out on vinyl and CD, especially vinyl has such a big resurgence. Everyone seems to like it again these days. So.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Hey, there's a sort of a notorious split 7-inch that you guys put out, the Bedlam AOD split.
Sure, it was going to come out on a flexi disc that I gave away with a fanzine that I put out, and the pressing company, Evertone Plastics down in Florida, they sent us back a letter. There's too much profanity on it, and they wouldn't press it. So we just pressed it up ourselves, and I don't even know how many copies we did. But we sat in Jim's basement, and we hand wrote things on the labels. And I remember Jack from AOD was writing all types of funny stuff, and they were hand numbered, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
One side was AOD, and one side was Bedlam.
Yeah, and I actually have 2 copies of that record because I can't remember where I bought it, but I remember going through and there was a stack of them at whatever store I was at. It was probably like 3 inches of like the same 7-inch. I went through them all and I found 2 that had the same number.
That's good. You can sell that on eBay if you want.
So I was like, oh look, I've got and I was like, so the numbering is off.
Yeah, it was
somewhere.
all hand numbered and everything.
So what number do you have? Yeah. I wrote it too. Okay, never mind. So I was like, oh good, I got 2 of the same ones. So, but were you the first label to release any Pussy Galore material?
No, I don't know if John did it himself, but Shove Records put out that first 7-inch.
Okay.
And they were still living in Washington, and I remember I got a phone number and I called up, and someone told me, oh, they just moved to New York City, and I was like, oh, that was great. And I found out where they lived, and they were playing at the Pyramid Club was their first New York show. Earlier in the night, I was seeing Rodney Dangerfield down at the Garden State Art Center,
Wow.
which is called whatever, PNC now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I went right from there, I left, and I drove to see them at the Pyramid Club. And I became friends with John, and I was proud of getting that because I know that other people wanted to put the record out, but he let us press up a limited pressing. I think we ended up doing, I know first it was 5,000 for Pussy Gold 5,000, but maybe we did another 2, so there might be 7,000 of them that were made. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that was one of those bands that I really felt was kind of a big deal for the label, just because it really was a newer thing, and to me a newer band and a newer. It wasn't the same old. I don't want to say same old because I really loved a lot of the bands, and I know so many of the people from the label.
Right.
But it was definitely a departure for Buyer Records, I felt, and a really cool direction that music was going into.
No,
also.
I loved it. It's still one of my favorite records that band put out. That lineup is my favorite lineup that they did, and with John and Christina and Julie and Bob and Neil. That was my favorite lineup.
Yeah, so you're the taste maker over here. You're the one who gets them out there, And would you say that is your favorite record on the label, or is it hard to?
I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but it's one that I'm really proud of. The fact that John has such a big career, and I see him whenever he plays local, and they were on David Letterman when the new record came out, and I wrote him an email. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. It's just like, I tell everyone, I'm like, I put that guy's record out, and
right.
So it's something I'm proud of for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Do you look at the history of Buyer Records in eras? Like, is there some timeline where you're like, oh yeah, and then things started such and such that way, like, or how do you look at the scope of the label?
I guess it was more fun in the beginning. Towards the end, when we were really trying to, I'm not saying like make it big because that's not the right terms I want to use, but at the end it just got too mixed up, and I don't know, other competition, we just fell by the wayside. And then distributors that were selling our stuff went out of business and took our product and sent it to other people who would try to return it to us. So it was a bad time financially. It was like a money pit.
Yeah.
That there was no more money to be had.
Right. Yeah. Did you keep the P.O. box for longer than the label?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kept that P.O. box until I moved away out of town because I grew up in Union. When I moved away, I got rid of it, but it was there for a while.
And how often would you get mail at it even after the label had?
There was always stuff would trickle in. People want to buy stuff. We had it for a while.
Yeah.
Until it was in storage, and then we sold it all off for pennies
Right.
basically. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you could see on eBay where some of that stuff.
Yeah, with some of the records we put out, I felt that the demos that we signed the bands on were better, like the X-Men record and even the PMS record. I loved the demos, but then when we put them in the studio, it just wasn't as exciting, and it didn't transform.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that happens with bands too. You just whether it's a performance thing or a mixing thing or it's more about the live.
Yeah.
You actually have to figure out how to capture a band to get them at their best, and it may not necessarily be bring 4 people who've never been in the studio before into a studio and have them record separately. Yeah, I mean, Bio Records has such a huge history and so much character to it and all that. I just, overall, I mean, I guess, I'm not sure what I'm trying to ask here. I guess I would just want to see what, in terms of other side things that you guys did. I mean, there were the shows that you put on at the Union Rec Hall, were they a Buy Our Records thing, or was that more?
No, I forget who. Someone just gave me a DVD of all those shows. A lot
really?
of the bands playing there that I was watching yesterday. But
wow,
I forget. Maybe Chris. Somebody knew somebody that just ran the rec center, and they let us have bands play there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was something. But we would just do show. We were friends with Johnny Dirt. May he rest in peace at the Dirt Club.
I know.
And Johnny was always kind to us. He would give us the late slots, but he let our bands play there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was definitely the home base.
Yeah. And New Jersey was really pretty connected back then too. It's funny. It's rare now if there's a show in New Jersey, except for like Asbury Lanes, and now, as we were talking before, like the Stanhope House is starting to have some shows. Right. And there's not really that many. I mean, there used to be the Court Tavern, and that's still sort of,
the connections and Pipeline were great for North Jersey.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. And then, of course, Maxwell's, but that's always in the sort of the realm of New York gigs in a way. But there was so much going on in New Jersey. And it may sound funny to listeners that there's, like, a New Jersey record label or a New Jersey hardcore label, but it was really viable, and there was so much going on. It wasn't like,
sure, and there's Mother Records from down the shore put out a bunch of records too early on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, New Jersey does have its own little pocket in the American hardcore book and all that. Did you get interviewed for that book? No.
No, I think Jersey was glossed over a little bit.
A little bit.
Steve Blush kind of just, I was friends with the guy, but it just kind of went.
He wrote something like, hardcore girls from New Jersey were all ugly. In that.
Whatever.
So, and I was like,
I can't even say what I want. We're on the air right now, so I gotta be nice and try not to swear.
All right. Well, let somebody else imagine what you were going to say.